All right, our next speaker coming up on stage today is probably one of the happiest people I know. Gwen Gnazdowsky is the founder of One Conversation Coaching and Facilitation. For over 25 years, Gwen has been helping people resolve issues and achieve personal, professional, and relationship goals, one conversation at a time. Gwen is the National Mentorship Program Developer and Coordinator with Women in Leadership Foundation Program. She has delivered workshops for YWCA's Mentoring and Single Moms programs, the Society for Women in Science and Technology, and Women in Film and Television, just to name a few. In her spare time, I don't think she has much of that, Gwen also teaches communication and public speaking courses at Langara College and the Vancouver School Board. Welcome to the stage, Gwen.
Well, very wonderful to be with you all today. Good morning. I'm here to share with you the greatest lesson and the greatest learning of my life, and I hope that you will be able to apply this to your own life and to your children's life and to anybody that you deal with. So to me, happiness is a paradigm shift, and that has been the greatest lesson, like I say, in my life. And do you remember what you used to wish for when you were a child? I always used to wish for the same thing. I always wished to be happy. So whether I was blowing out the candles of my birthday cake or throwing a penny into a wishing well, any of you old enough to remember pennies? I would always wish for happiness, except at Christmas time, and I would wish for Barbies, because I knew Santa was coming, and if I didn't put my order in, I was not going to get any Barbies. So I always wished for Barbies. And something I recognized is that I'm not alone in wishing for happiness. Dr. Robert Holden did some studies on happiness and has done a lot of writing about happiness. And he went on to give a genie to parents. He did a little test, giving a genie to parents, honoring and granting 3 wishes of what they wish for their children. What was interesting is 100% of the time, they chose happiness over wealth. 95% of the time, they chose happiness over academic excellence and achievement.
Oh, okay. I'm
95% of the time,
you need to do, so I'm good.
Happiness over fame.
That's what we get from micromanaging,
of the time,
huh?
they chose happiness over success.
Do me.
You can kind of see that we are all hard-driven and hardwired.
Maybe I'll drop some things.
Success
I'll take some things out.
and happiness.
Yeah, just take
Mostly
some
happiness.
stuff out.
That's what my topic is.
Come get it
but
later.
wanting happiness for ourselves and our children.
Yeah. Okay.
But yet,
there we go.
happiness seems
Perfect.
to be something that, I don't know about you, but it really used to elude me.
All set, so I'm just going to
How
walk up and
come
we're good.
I was not
Okay.
having happiness on a regular and ongoing basis?
Is on it?
What was happening about that? Why was that happening? And I come to recognize that if I stuck with the same old thinking,
Nice.
I get the
That's
same
my
old
hair.
results again and
Did
again.
it slip out again?
And how come I wasn't
coming
just able to shift my thinking?
Is it?
Well, I'm here to just
feels
share
like
with
it's maybe
you
too tight.
why that is.
Yeah.
My story started
Until we
off
see that
in a
popping
small
off and I do some
town
crazy
in
dynamic.
Ethelbert, Manitoba.
Be like, oops, lost the
Population,
sound. Can we start
500
again?
people. Everybody in town was of Ukrainian descent, and we knew all our
Okay,
neighbors.
that feels better.
And
There
I
we
was
go, I think,
raised
yeah, that's good.
in a family with a father and a mother.
I don't know why I look at my notes. Like,
had
do I
an
really?
older
Does it really
sister.
matter?
And my older sister had health challenges.
Nobody will know.
And so I used to think
You got
that
like
my
this really
older
cocky
sister
intro about
was
driving in a
special,
supercar to
but I
work.
wasn't. She used to go away
No,
to the
I
smaller
didn't.
towns
I'm going to the
nearby.
airport
She
after.
would go to
I drive a
Joplin,
McLaren.
Manitoba for
But like, who
tests
intros
and
their talk
doctor's
saying I drive a
appointments.
McLaren? That
My
I gotta
parents would
make sure
take
I
her
hit the
to
part that says I'm
Winnipeg,
just like you,
Manitoba.
and then I tell the story.
And
I
once
also gotta
again,
say, give a little
I was
charity,
left
because if
at
you don't
home
say those
with my
things, it doesn't go
grandparents,
well.
which was not a whole lot of fun. She would go to the big cities, and I would have to stay home. Then she would come back,
No, it's good.
and she would
It's
have
good.
a new dress that matched my mother's.
What's that?
And she'd have a new stuffed animal, and I did not get that. So it's starting to be in my mind, I'm not special, my sister is special. Another thing that happened to me in my
Yeah, sure. Go
childhood
for it.
is I was of 9 Gnazdowsky girls in the Gnazdowsky clan in Ethelbert, Manitoba. All my uncles had girls. My dad had 2 girls already. And I was 3.5 years old when my baby brother was born. Well, let's just say after 9 girls, he was the golden boy of the town. He was adorable, darling, cute, and a boy to boot. Once again, Gwen made up the story. She's not special, he is special. And then what ends up happening is you live in this kind of a mindset. This became my paradigm. This became my reality. And I was even too young to figure it out. So I'm going to share with you about a paradigm shift, and what a paradigm shift is a fundamental change of approach or underlying assumptions. And I was wanting to tackle these underlying decisions and assumptions that I was making, and I didn't even realize they were a reality.
Good morning.
And the benefit for me in overcoming my stories and having a paradigm shift is I was able to overcome obstacles that previously were unsurmountable to me. I had reframed all my limiting beliefs. I have managed my mindset. I've healed my emotional wounds.
I'm a pretty lucky
and
guy.
I finally have happiness. Not that it's there forever and always. I trip back to my old story once in a while, my old paradigm, but at least now I see it and I have gained some access.
Hundreds of awesome people.
So how are we going to do this? We're going to do this by recognizing that we all have emotional baggage. We're going to talk a little bit about emotional programming.
We're an amazing company called Zag
We're going to
Group,
recognize that
where we find
secrets keep us
natural
stuck.
plants,
Believe
medicine
me,
that help
I was
people
not telling
find
anybody that I did
relaxation,
not feel
peace,
special.
and health.
This was a secret
In the
that I
last
was
year,
hugely,
last
hugely
3 years, we
embarrassed
grew
about.
from
We're going to
12 million
challenge
this
our
year, we'll
emotional
do over
programming
100.
and ultimately have a paradigm shift as a result.
Work with
Now,
150
Dr. David
amazing
Burns
people
did a lot
who
of
are all
work
focused
on cognitive
improving the
therapy,
world.
and he
We give a large
recognizes that the
percentage of our
human
profits to
condition
charitable causes.
experiences 4 Ds.
Funded over 100 charities.
So what there is to
We started
recognize
3 of
here
our
is that
own.
you're not alone.
I
You
could
will have
retire,
experienced 1
but I
or
never
4 of these 4 Ds.
I'm pretty much living my
The
dream
first
life.
one is about being defective. Perhaps it's about not being brilliant or smart or school savvy. Perhaps it's not being skilled in the sports arena, but that there's this feeling that there's something wrong with us. The second one is about being defeated. So what this looks like is that you think that you'll never measure up. Why should I try? I don't stand a chance. And again, it can be in a number of different arenas, such as physical, emotional, intellectual, socially. The next one is about a sense of being
I
deprived.
had a party a little while ago.
And that could look like deprived of attention, deprived of love, deprived of resources. And lastly, deserted.
Party at my
So
house
that
a
you're
little
feeling
while
like
ago.
you're left
Some of
on
my
your
annual
own.
goals.
Perhaps you were actually
So this is your
abandoned,
bucket list
perhaps
for
you were
life.
adopted out,
That's the
or
notes for
perhaps
this
you were
year.
just left out or excluded.
impossible.
So this feeling and sense of
Really?
deserted. I know with
Is
my
it
little
really?
story,
What if the impossible
I think I
is
really
possible?
resonated with this deserted, kind
That's
of
what I'm gonna
left
share with you
behind,
today.
and a little bit deprived.
See, I'm not any different
No
than any
matching
of
dress
you.
for Gwen.
I've just had some interesting experiences in my life that I learned.
And
a
I
few
love the
things
work
from.
of Oprah Winfrey,
I've developed a
and
unique
she says
mindset.
that everybody has got something. Sometimes we think we're the only ones dealing with anything, but the truth be told, everybody has something. I heard her speak recently,
Looking for
and
me?
I've heard her say it before, but she says every person who she interviews, whether it's Bush,
Huh?
Barack,
Oh, yeah,
or
okay.
Beyonce,
Good.
always asks at the end of the interview, was that okay?
Yeah, flying to California.
Did you get what you wanted?
I'm interviewing a new CSO.
And finally, she also says
Chief
that
Science
all pain
Officer,
is the
yeah.
same. So my situation
And a
might
little
not
barbecue
seem
to maybe take the
very
day off.
bad to many of
Such a
you,
sprint
but for
recently.
me, it was a real hardship. So there's varying degrees of things that happen to us in our life, but that all pain is the same. So not to
actually
minimize
start
and
speech till
dismiss
yesterday.
yourself for having that.
But you've done speaking.
Where does this
Little
all
bit.
come from?
Yeah.
Why does this
I think
happen?
like the crowd is super easy.
I
to
love the
show up
work
and
of
talk,
Barbara
but when it goes
DeAngelis,
online,
and what she
it's
does
like,
is
okay,
she
a good
estimated
TEDx, I haven't
that
done TEDx
psychologists
before, so I have a
estimate
video on
that
TEDx
50% of your emotional
nice.
programming is set by the time you are 5 years old.
You were saying.
So if you can imagine what she means by emotional programming, It's how you think of yourself,
Oh, yeah.
how you think of the world, how you think the world thinks about you. 50% set by the time you're
I'm just going to
5.
stretch while we talk.
The Chinese have a saying, show me a 6-year-old and I will show you a man. So much truth to that.
Like, just
She
horrible,
goes
like
on
people
to saying
forgetting
by the
their
time
life.
you're 8 years
I don't want to hear
old,
about this, actually. Tell me
80%
after.
of your emotional programming is
Fantastic.
set.
Most are fantastic,
And
right?
95% by the time we're 18.
Ah,
So if you can imagine and
I think
remember
that's kind
back,
of
that's why when we were
where I
teenagers,
can
we
come
knew
in is
everything.
like,
This is why.
life just kind of happened
But what
to
this
me,
also
and
leaves
then I
us
made the
with
best
is
of
just
it,
the
and so
tip
it's a good
of the iceberg that we are
experience, I think, for them
conscious
to hear
about.
what it was like being
The rest
through
has
it.
all happened when we were kids and we didn't even realize it was happening. So it's like an iceberg, the way I like to see
Let's do it.
So the top is what we're conscious to, and everything else is frozen and solidified below the surface, and we're not even aware of it.
Thank you.
So going back to me again, and another little story. When I was about 7 years old, we had a round swing in our backyard. If you can imagine this, small town Ethelbert, Manitoba, we had a round swing in our backyard. My grandfather made it out of a clothesline. It was basically a pole with 8 spokes sticking out, and it was strung up for a clothesline, and you can just turn the clothesline and get all the clothes down. And my grandfather was brilliant, and he put a swing on the bottom of each spoke. So what happened is that we could swing on that. You'd push one kid, and everybody would go flying. And this was amazing in Ethelbert, Manitoba, believe me, back in the 60s. And just something more about my father. My father was the king of parties. My dad would have the kids over, and we would have baseball parties. We would have hot dog parties. We would have dancing parties. We would have swing parties. So if you can imagine, everything we did was amped up and lots of fun because of my dad. And I remember sitting on this swing set one day for a swing party, and I was starting to notice, oh my God, my dad is pushing Wesley, and my dad is pushing Bonnie, and my dad is pushing Cindy, and my dad is not pushing me. So what do you think I did? I fell off the swing. I got a big bump on the back of my head. All of this is because my emotional programming was already set that I'm not special, and since he is pushing all those other kids, they're special and I'm not. And this is something else that I would keep this a secret. I love this slide. I get jealous because I'm afraid someone is going to make you happier than I do. I was afraid my dad liked other kids. I was afraid that he would enjoy other kids more than me. Landmark Education has done some brilliant work, and on their website, Landmark Insights, they show these two circles, and I love working with these. What they do is just ask what the facts are, what happened, and for me, it was my dad was pushing other kids on the swing, 4 or 5 other kids, and not me. And what the story we told ourselves is, my dad likes those kids, he likes them more than he likes me. Why else would he be pushing them and not me? And what we do, they also show, is that we collapse these two things, the facts and our interpretation, and becomes solidified. This is basically what our emotional programming ends up being about. And here's the opportunity. I can stay stuck with this story, or I can get coaching, take seminars, get help, and I can brainstorm a whole bunch of other interpretations than the one that I saddled myself with. So I'm thinking to myself, and what could be another interpretation of what happened? I could say, well, my dad was just giving everybody a turn, and maybe I was going to be the next one. I can say, my dad likes all the kids, so my dad just likes to have fun. It's a different interpretation. And I finally came up with some help, getting coached. I came up with the interpretation, I'm special, and everyone is special. And I thought, oh, this is great. This is a new paradigm. I don't have to stay stuck with my story. So here's the opportunity, is get some help from somebody else. And I'm just sharing a few little tips here on how you can have your paradigm shift as well. Get somebody else's opinion, because you're trapped in your own, and sometimes you can't see any other possible solutions. So get it out there. Those who cannot change their mind cannot change anything. I came to realize that once I was able to change my mind that I'm special, I could be special to my dad. I could be special to a man. I can not be so caught up in competing with other people who might be more special than me. I can actually stand up and speak here today, which wasn't possible back then. So I just want to encourage you that you create your thoughts, you can create your future, you can have whatever it is that you want, and really work on those thoughts. And here's a great one. Let's be awesome. Sign the voice in your head. Let's take it on every opportunity that we're just going to knock it out of the park, and we are amazing and awesome. And I love this one for me, especially since I tend to get jealous. Stop comparing yourself to others. We are both awesome. Awesome over here and awesome over there, too. We are smarter, funnier, prettier, kinder, smart, everything. But we're all awesome. And I love this saying, too, because sometimes we have a let people affect how we see ourselves. So this one says, what others think is not important. How you feel about yourself is all that matters. We can just take it on that regardless of what somebody says to us. If somebody calls us stupid, we don't have to buy in. It's all an inner game.
It's beautiful.
And having this as an affirmation, you are good enough. You are smart enough. You are loved enough. You are worthy. It can always be our affirmation moving forward to creating a great future. So just to wrap up again, we looked at the emotional baggage and how we all have something, and emotional programming, how it got set and solidified at a young age, how it is the secrets that keep you stuck. So get out of your own head. I often have a mantra with my clients, or anybody really, and that is no suffering alone. Challenge your emotional programming and have a paradigm shift. In other words, so we can get good with ourselves and overcome our challenges and limiting beliefs and be our own inner superhero. You can also be a superhero. You can get your picture taken at the Science World in Vancouver. But we can own it. We can take this on, and this can be our new persona. And it has helped, I know for myself, in many areas in life. It has helped me with my family, with my parents. It has helped me with my siblings. It has helped me find love of my life better than the man of my dreams in my life. Lots of my wishes are coming true. I am happy, and I can work well and better with people and be part of the solution instead of that girl stuck in my head. And just remember, just because I have had this paradigm shift doesn't mean I'm going to veer off into no man's land in the head again, but just know that this is a journey and a process, and we can continue to make it right and continue the path. And just in closing, I would like to share about my dad. My dad has passed away in February 2007, and in August, before he died, he took me to the airport in Calgary to drop me off. And my dad said to me, "You are my special friend." And I just have to say, I was gobsmacked. I think, oh my God, I wasted so much, 33 years of my life, stuck in my old vortex, my old paradigm, instead of having the new one. And I just count my blessings every day, because once I had a new paradigm, I was then my dad's friend, instead of he was my enemy. So get your own superhero stories, reinvent yourself, make something else up that's new, that's going to empower yourself and the people in your life. Get your own cape on. Thank you.
I'm longer. Like,